come right over here. I'm Terry Scott, and I was part of the organizing team. Where's Marnie? I was on the organizing group, and Pam Dixon, if she's anywhere around. It was a conversation with Pam and I when we heard that Mike had passed. We said, let's talk about doing a Candlelight Vigil, and this is it. So thank you all. We really appreciate you coming out tonight. I'm going to pass the mic over to Kat for a few comments. Where I think she just disappeared on me. And then we're going to pass the mic around to anyone who would like to make some comments about their comments, or comments about their relationship, or the reminiscence of Mike. So as soon as Kat, here we go.
Wow, I don't speak to everybody like this very often, and I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here. And I have truly never met a group of people and artists that are so really very special. It's a special community here. And the feelings that Mike talked about, the energy that is here, is so true. I love Mike with all my heart. And I hope nobody doubts that. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being still a part of my life and letting Mike be a part of yours. I'm pretty sure he's here tonight, so let's carry on and remember him, and everybody tell some stories, because my story's too long to tell, but we had eyes that met a long, long time ago in high school, and but we ran in different groups. And so Mike said it was written in the stars that eventually we come together at some point, and it was when he was the most ill and he was the most sick. So I was there with him, and just know that he loved all of you so much. Thank you.
This week, I definitely lost you, my good friend. Your studio was the best place to have wonderful, interesting chats and fun with you and nice friends. We share excellent moments that I treasure. You always were very close to me to help in the simplest things, even in the impossible. You are a great support to me in many ways. I am very sorry that I did not repay the valuable help you gave me. Even in spite not having you here anymore, you still take care of me from where you are. God bless you. Thank you very much, dear Mike Kendall.
Bob, don't speak too long.
Thank you. Hi, this will be close, really quick. I was Mike's best friend, and that's a joke, because like Pam Jackson wrote, and I had the same thought, anybody that came and talked to Mike suddenly became his best friend. He had a sincerity, a way of caring and interest in what you were doing that was unique. And you walked away saying, wow, I'm his best friend. An example, I came over not that long ago, and I wanted to make 2 metal wings, and I didn't have the right tools. And he goes, oh yeah, come on over, I'll help you out. And he brought out the big vise, and then he brought out saws, and pretty soon I had my wings pretty well done. But I'm kind of looking around me. In the meantime, he brought out like 20 more tools. He's going, you might need this. Oh, you might need this. Oh, here, you might need this. And I was surrounded by, right here on the landing, all these tools that he brought out. He was, I mean, just so selfless. He just wanted to help you with whatever you were doing. And what a unique quality in a person. He'll certainly be missed.
So Mike was known as the mayor of the Arsenal, and it was a well-deserved honor that I think he enjoyed on some level, but he was also the kind of guy who didn't really suffer fools gladly. And I was the target, I guess, not really a target, because I was on the city council. After the Ghost Ship fire in Oakland, the city manager at that time decided that we needed to come and make sure that we didn't have the possibility of such a disaster happening out here in the Arsenal. And so she had a fire inspector come out here, and he was a little over the top in terms of the kinds of things he was asking for. And it really became a problem for the tenants out here. And Mike took it upon himself to ream me out pretty good for what the city was doing, and deservedly so. I think the city did go a little too far. This was not a similar kind of situation where we've got, these are buildings that are concrete and that have sprinklers, and you weren't going to have a fire like happened in Oakland. But I appreciated the fact that he never backed down and he never let up, and he kept the pressure on. Now that city manager's gone, the fire inspector's gone, and unfortunately Mike is gone. And it's been a pretty tough year for, first Manuel, Neary, and now Mike. It's been a tough year for local artists. So for all the rest of you local artists, Lisa and Vicky and Pam and everybody, just be careful. We can't really afford to lose many more anymore. And so I just wanted to pay my respects to Mike and thank all of you for coming out.
I would like to talk that.
Here's Mike.
All right.
My papa taught me on a walk when I first got home from the hospital. The first person I met is Mike.
Thank you.
I'm Jean Purnell, and I've been with Arts Benicia about 4 years, so that's as long as I've known Mike. He was totally a legend before I got here, so it was kind of a treat to look out the back door and see if his studio was open and kind of come over here and visit for a little bit. And I've been trying to develop as an artist over the last few years, and one of the things I learned is that if I started with a clean, new canvas, my art was really crappy. But if I started with a used canvas, I had a lot better luck. So I would come over to Mike's studio and say, do you have any used canvases? And so he never had them out here on the dock, but he'd always go back, and sometimes he'd let me go back into the studio space with him, and he'd haul out a bunch of canvases and let me take one or two, and I kind of appreciated that. It's like I could certainly afford to buy a canvas, but I just liked getting one from Mike. And he always had this stuff out on the dock, and I always had this, easy view of it. So I want you to know when he and Kat said they were moving this year, and of course all this stuff started to show up with the free notices on it, I came over and I said, do you have any little tables? And he said, oh yeah, I've made quite a few of these little tables. And he said, hang on, let me go in the studio. So he brought out this little table, just a little thing that I can use in my art studio. And the surface of the table was one of Mike's paintings. Or basically, I should just say, he painted the table. And of course, it has one of these red and white striped creatures on it. And then he had other tables that were absolutely clean and barren. And I just said, no, I need that one with your artwork on it. He's a special person that we've lost. And the number of people that are standing around here is just wonderful testimony to his qualities of networking people together. And so he's part of an older generation. As Steve said, we've lost a few, and hopefully others will step up and channel the inner Mike Kendall that I think we all feel tonight.
Hi, everyone. I would like to thank Mike for helping to organize the auction, the Arts Benicia auction, for helping to organize open studios, for providing a recycling center, for providing me with lots of great materials for art, and about half of the artists in town, as far as I can tell. I'd like to thank him for always being available for everybody. And I said the artist is in on the studio. I'd like to thank him for helping my wife start working with metal. And I'd like to thank him for organizing this community that we're all here part of. And I'd like to note that it's up to us now.
My name is Les Overlock, and obviously I had the most closest communication with Mike of everybody that's here. Not. And one of the things I put it in the paper, and you could read it in the paper, but I taught for years with these kids in town, and I needed to get some infusion of some real young blood, so I asked Mike to come over and if he could do something with found objects. And so he and I together, he introduced me to I think it's Urban, or I may have, and introduced me to what became one of my favorite shopping places in Berkeley. And I used to go down there and just wander around. And he went in there with me, and in about half an hour we were gone, and we had all this buckets of things, and we took them straight over to school, and I dumped them in the front of my classroom. And the kids came in one day and typically saying, well, what are we doing today? I said, just guess what? We're putting this together, and we're going to make wonderful objects that have human quality in some way. And then somebody said, well, can I do a werewolf or something? I said, yeah, that has human qualities, if it's a kind werewolf. So we spent a week, and Mike showed us how to put things together, of which he was really very successful at doing. And I could put them together, but they could fall apart faster than a heartbeat. So we put them all together, and some of the kids in the class were not that turned on to art, and they were definitely not turned on to taking found objects and making them work. But in the middle of the week, all of a sudden everybody started getting with the program, and a couple of girls I know that weren't really into it started making these. I can't tell you what they were. I tried to save them as long as I could. But they made these angels that flew, and oh my God, it was just unbelievable. And so he came in, he conquered, he left his mark, and all of a sudden he left all these objects, which I tried to show at the library, and I showed everywhere I possibly could, and certainly didn't want credit for what Mike had done, but he had this imagination that people have here in this area, wild imaginations, but his was unique because he could take metal and just make it fly. So I at the end of the time, I said, thank you so very, very much. That was a wonderful experience. And I just kept doing it after and after and after. And I could never duplicate what was done. But I had an idea tonight. I have these dreams of being able to play this phenomenal guitar and also being able to sing. But tonight, I didn't get fast enough, but I thought later on, if somebody here is willing, if they would come and just start Michael Rode the Boat Ashore, so that we could sing that together, would be kind of cool. And it would echo right over these buildings into Martinez and any other place they might want to go. So I know artists that are here that know how to play. And if you'd want to come up and get it started, we don't have to have any guitars. We don't have to have any mandolins. All we need is somebody willing to start the song rolling. And I didn't want to put anybody on the spot. Michael rode the boat ashore with a big fat boar, and a big fat boar took him everywhere. Hallelujah. Michael rode the boat ashore. Michael rode the boat ashore. Hallelujah. A little louder, please. All of you poets in the crowd, thank you for offering it. And boy, Mike and I used to sit up and look at out over here. Mike. Yes. Anyways, we used to look out here and it was peaceful and quiet, and we liked the serenity. It was really something else. So thank you for representing the solemnity. Did I get the word right? Solemnity of this location, because it is peaceful and it has sort of a coming together of forces right here. And I'm not sure why, but we've had incredible people down here, and he was the leader of the pack. So here's the mic for anybody who would like.
Hi, folks. So, for over 25 years, my studio has been right across from Mike's. And a bunch of years ago, they put up these huge lights. So, we had to put curtains up on the window so we could get to sleep at night. I'm telling you all this because every morning my ritual was to open the curtains to have new light of the day and to greet the day. And I got into this daily ritual, frankly, and habit of glancing down here to see what Mike's up to. Literally every day. It just became a touchstone. It's like Mike was like that touchstone for me in a way. So he was either out here working on a piece or sometimes just sitting having coffee with a good friend, or by himself just kind of ruminating. Or he might be out here bringing out art supplies for folks. And the last few days, it's been really weird to open up those curtains. That's the weird thing about death. It just is mystical and inexplicable. And, someone's gone that you've known for 25 years, and it just feels weird that there's a vacuum there, But I still look down here, actually. It's weird. I still do it just kind of out of habit. So it's great to see all these faces. Hello to you for making the journey. And that's all I got. I'll hand this over.
So my name is Sharon, and for 10 years, I had this space in this studio. And when you say Mike was your best friend, I know he was one of my very best friends of my whole life. Talk about rituals, Mark. Mike and I had them. And Mike and I had a special relationship that was, it was a human relationship. It wasn't a male-female relationship. It was a human connection that over the years we just did. We sat out here. Sometimes it was an Irish coffee. Sometimes it Sometimes in the morning it wasn't. But we did solve a lot of problems, and we shared a lot of our lives as artists. We talked a lot about just life, and the connection I had with Mike, for me, is unmatched. And he did have the gift of giving. He did love giving. It like I said in the Facebook post, it lit him up. And if I could say anything right now, if we could all move forward and give in memory and in honor of Mike. He was our mayor. I mean, he was a very special soul, not just to this community, but if we could move forward and give and light yourself up by giving. That's, I think, what I would like to offer. So I'm happy to be here. I was in Idaho this morning, so I came here just to be amongst Mike's energy. So I'm happy to be here. To Mike. To Mike.
I just want to say that more than anything, I know that Mike is very proud of every one of us here tonight, because we were all his best friends, his family, his community, and we were the spirit that really he was able to move. To Mike.
Hello, everyone. My name's Laura, and I first met Mike about 8 years ago when I was working at Hip Chick Designs, if any of you remember that. And Carrie is my boss and owner over there, and she had some art supplies, and I said, "Where do you get all these wonderful panels and She goes, "Oh, Mike Kendall over here, this artist over here. Just go in there. He gives them away for free." I said, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, just go in there. He collects them. He's got a source, and anything you want, you can get for free." So I come trouncing over here, and I meet Mike, and he takes me in the back, like you said, and shows me the thing. "Whatever you want, take the, not just the panels, whatever you want for free." And I said, "Free? Really?" "Yeah, free." I said, "Who does that?" Well, Mike Kendall did that. And he really meant it. And it wasn't just once, it wasn't twice. It was all the come, take, anything. And I will carry that energy with me, his energy of giving, true giving without expecting anything in return, and just giving from his heart. And that's the energy that I felt when I was ever around him, and I'm honored to have shared that with him. To Mike.
I just want to say to our community, Mike was the glue that kept us together. Let's not lose the glue in Mike's memory.
To Mike.
To Mike.
I'm Celeste, and 20 years ago, I started working at the Vallejo Community Arts Foundation in Vallejo, and I had just been there for about a year, and I got the job, and one of the very first people that came over to congratulate me and welcome me was Mike. He came over and said, "Celeste, just know I'm over in Benicia in Arsenal, and I'm here always to connect with you in Vallejo and make things happen." And so over the years, that's exactly what happened. Mike helped to bridge what seemed strangely this somewhat divided Benicia-Vallejo union. And when I started here as the director of Arts Benicia 6.5 years ago, you can only imagine what a wonderful, wonderful welcome, hugs and kisses I got from Mike and his support. And you talk about giving, which he does, and I just think about even just the way he paid attention. One time when we were in the gallery and somebody had forgot their reading glasses, Mike just had overheard this. And like the next day, he came in with a wooden box full of about a dozen pairs of reading glasses that we could keep at the front desk of the gallery for people. And that was the kind of thing he did all the time, as we all know. And so all I can say is how much I love him and miss him, and I agree with you so much to keep together. I also want to mention that we decided at Arts Benicia to host a art making party in his honor, which we're going to do on Wednesday, December 1st. That we will have, it's called Art Heart, and we will just put out tables in the gallery in the classroom with all kinds of supplies, and please come and make art together. We know Mike would love this. It's just totally time to share stories and memories of Mike and make art together and in a joyous celebration of his creative spirit. So I really hope everyone will come and be there and do that. We would love to have you be part of that. Thank you.
It can be Mike Kendall's Day.
It's Mike Kendall's Day. You're absolutely right. Hey, maybe that's what we can call that, Mike Kendall's Day. And talk to the mayor, and that's always a good thing we can do. And that would be great. So, yeah. And maybe even Mike Kendall's here at some point. So, anyways, thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Craig Snyder, better known as the husband of Lee Wilder Snyder. It was really tough for me when I heard through Facebook, I think it was, about Mike's death, and it really broke me up because Lee came here, we moved here in 2003, and she got a studio right over there in that building on the corner back about '04. And one of the first people to welcome her here was Mike Kendall, a very strong supporter. And through Mike, she got involved with Arts Benicia and eventually became the president of Arts Benicia. And with Mike's help and support as an ally, was able to move through a significant transition for that organization. And Mike was just such a great supporter for her. And she's here tonight, and I know if her memory was a little better, she'd be up here with lots of stuff to say about Mike. But I just want to share that, and to Mike.
Well, Mr. Wilder is a hard act to follow. I can't really remember the first time I met Mike. He just always seemed to be there, you know? And we all know that. He supported us all. I had many opportunities to photograph him, as I've had that same opportunity with many of you. And he really enjoyed the process. And what that does for me as a creative is that it takes away a barrier that a lot of people have about being photographed. And so it frees me up to be more creative. And I think in a sense, that's what he's done for all of us in one way or another. I know that the last year was an incredible struggle for him health-wise. But in the plus department, I would just like to acknowledge that I think he was as happy as he's ever been because of Kat and the little pooch over here too, Peaches. So here's Mike.
Well, thank you all for coming. I think we heard a lot of humor and a lot of stories about Mike. I met him in 2015, and I came over to the studio to talk about arts and culture. And the first thing is I sat down, and he just looked up at me, and he said, "Don't piss me off." And then he got up and he gave me a big hug, and he said, "Okay, now I got that out of the way, but remember, don't piss me off." And that was the relationship that I had with Mike. I would piss him off, or he'd piss me off, and we would have a lot of fun in social media, etc. But we moved here when we looked at communities. We had heard that Benicia was this incredible arts town. There was a magical arts town. And I think that what we're seeing tonight is really a living testament to the magic of the community and to how the community really closes together to celebrate one of the pillars of our community. So a final, here's to Mike. Here's to Mike.
Mike.
And see you on Mike Day on December 1st at Arts Benicia. What time? What time? 4 o'clock.
4 till
So,
7.
4 to 7.
Something like that.
Anybody else? Thank you all.
Thank you.